Luxury is changing, and it might not be for good. While LVMH posts earnings and Hermès raises prices again, 15 luxury brands are quietly failing their customers in 2026. Yet these brands are increasing prices while their resale values are slipping. They simply are the worst, and today we're breaking down these brands. Let's begin with a brand nobody wants to admit is failing. A watchmaker so legendary, so dominant, that saying they're struggling feels blasphemous. But the data doesn't lie. Number 15. Rolex. Rolex. The name alone creates reverence. The crown, the prestige, the waiting lists. The brand that proved mechanical watches could survive the quartz crisis and thrive in the digital age. Rolex doesn't have customers. It has believers. But 2026 reveals a different story. Rolex raised prices by 7% on the 1st of January 2026. Across the board, steel sports watches up 5 to 6%. Gold models up 8 to 9%. A Submariner that was around $9,500 in 2025? Now $10,050? GMT Batman? Give or take $11,800, up from $11,100. The problem isn't the increase. It's what you get for it. Same movement, same materials, same finishing. And here's what nobody talks about. The secondary market is normalizing. For years, Rolex sports watches traded above retail. You couldn't easily buy them in stores, so gray market premiums hit 30 to 50%, but now that's over. Gray market prices has crashed, but they can still, the easiest place to get the exact watch you want. Watch market data from late 2025 shows Submariners, Daytonas, GMT Masters trading at or below retail. The speculative bubble popped. The investment narrative collapsed. Aspirational buyers, the people who save for years to buy their first Rolex, are realizing something. They're paying premium prices for access frustration. You can't walk into an authorized dealer and buy the watch you want. You wait months or years. Or you pay gray market premiums for watches that are losing value. Meanwhile, brands like Grand Seiko, Tudor, ironically, Rolex's sister brand, and independent watchmakers deliver comparable quality at 30 to 50% lower prices, with no waiting lists, no games, no frustration. Rolex still makes exceptional watches, but in 2026, they're charging you for brand mystique more than mechanical excellence. And when mystique becomes the product, you're not buying luxury anymore. You're buying status anxiety. Rolex at least delivers quality, even if overpriced. Our next brand? It's drowning in its own success. Literally, too popular for its own good. Number 14. Louis Vuitton Monogram. The LV monogram, one of the most recognizable luxury codes in history. The brand will celebrate its 130th anniversary in 2026. And it will celebrate with heritage campaigns, archive pieces, and special releases. The Speedy, Keep All, Neverfull, Alma, all getting the anniversary treatment. Not to spoil the celebratory mood, but here's something about LV. The monogram oversaturation is destroying aspirational appeal. The Neverfull has become the luxury equivalent of the Toyota Camry. Reliable, everywhere, completely unremarkable. Walk through any airport, any shopping district, any upscale suburb. Neverfulls everywhere. When everyone has it, no one wants it. Resale data from 2025 captures the situation well. Louis Vuitton Keep All values dropped 15% below market average due to oversupply. The Speedy maintains demand, but only rare limited editions command premiums. Standard monogram pieces, depreciating. Meanwhile, Louis Vuitton keeps raising prices. The Neverfull jumped $100 in 2025, a 4.7 to 5.1% increase. The Alma BB climbed 21.8% in a single year. But there's a big problem from LV. They might find it hard to break into new markets. For inside, Gen Z doesn't worship logos. They want craft, authenticity, brands that aren't everywhere. So, how will LV adapt? Their strategy, which is making products accessible, made them billions. It also made them common. And in luxury, common is death. And that death would begin the moment they can't impress the new generation of shoppers. Louis Vuitton makes beautiful products. Their craftsmanship is undeniable. But the monogram line has become a victim of its own success. Too accessible, too common, too predictable. If you're buying LV in 2026, you're buying heritage and history, not exclusivity. And definitely not resale value. At least, Louis Vuitton has heritage. Our next brand has controversies that won't die and a creative direction that can't find its footing. Number 13. Balenciaga. Balenciaga, under Demna, was revolutionary. Ironic, provocative. The Triple S sneaker, the oversized silhouettes, the grotesque beauty that defined teen fashion. It made Balenciaga cool again. Then 2022 happened. The campaign controversy, the immediate backlash, the public apology, the damage control that couldn't control the damage. 2023 and 2024 were recovery years. Balenciaga tried to move forward. New campaigns, new product, new positioning. But 2025 and 2026 reveal the problem. The stain won't wash off. Consumer sentiment data shows persistent negative associations. Social media discussions still reference the controversy. Brand favorability remains depressed compared to pre-2022 levels. And creatively, Balenciaga feels lost. The irony-heavy aesthetic aged poorly. The shock value approach feels tired. Without the cultural momentum, what's left? Product quality questions emerged. $3,000 coats with construction issues. Shoes with durability complaints. The spectacle couldn't hide the substance problems. Kering doesn't break out Balenciaga numbers separately, but it's included in other houses, which posted 16% declines in recent quarters. Demna left to lead Gucci in 2025. Balenciaga now rebuilds under new creative direction. Again, for the third time in a decade. Balenciaga isn't dead, but it's damaged. The controversy created permanent skepticism. The creative direction feels exhausted, and in 2026, buying Balenciaga feels less like fashion-forward thinking and more like ignoring red flags. Balenciaga has controversy. Our next brand? It has a material problem that makes the price absurd. Number 12. Prada Nylon. Prada Nylon. Pocone Nylon. Introduced in the 80s. Revolutionary at the time. Industrial materials elevated to luxury status. It worked because it was new, because it was miuccia, because it challenged luxury conventions. Fast forward to 2026. Prada nylon bags retail for $1,500 to $3,000. For nylon, the same material used in backpacks and outdoor gear. Yes, it's Pocone nylon. Regenerated, durable, and water-resistant. Yes, Prada treats and finishes it beautifully, but it's still nylon. Gen Z and younger millennials look at Prada nylon and ask, why? Why pay $2,500 for nylon when I can buy leather at mid-market brands for $800? Where's the value? The answer used to be that Prada made nylon cool. Prada made industrial materials luxurious. Prada subverted expectations. But in 2026, that story feels old. The nylon bags feel dated, and the resale market agrees. Prada nylon bags depreciate faster than leather goods. Standard nylon pieces lose 40 to 50% of retail value within 2 years. Limited editions hold better, but anything mass-produced, value collapse. Meanwhile, Prada leather bags, the Galleria, the Clio, maintain stronger resale performance, because leather actually feels luxurious. Prada nylon was revolutionary once. Now it's a relic. A reminder that luxury innovations age poorly when they're predicated on subversion rather than intrinsic value. In 2026, paying thousands for nylon, no matter how well treated, is a value trap. Prada has a material problem. Our next brand has a relevance problem, locked in a decade that Gen Z doesn't remember and doesn't care about. Number 11. MCM. MCM had a moment. 2010 to 2015. The Viseros monogram. The studded backpacks. The K-pop endorsements. The sudden ubiquity in Asia, and then globally. It felt fresh because it felt retro. 80s German luxury revived for the Instagram generation. But 2026 reveals the problem with nostalgia brands. When the nostalgia cycle moves on, you're left with nothing. MCM's aesthetic, loud monogram, heavy branding, maximalist hardware is outdated to current luxury consumers. It's trapped in the 2010s, and that era is gone. Gen Z luxury consumers want understated. They want craft. They want brands that whisper rather than scream. MCM screams, and the people under 25 are running away. The brand tried to evolve. Collaborations, new creative direction, attempts at minimalism. Nothing stuck. Because MCM's brand equity is tied to an aesthetic that's fundamentally over. And resale values show this. MCM bags that retailed for $1,000 to $1,500 now sell for $200 to $400 used. That's a 70 to 80% depreciation. Nobody believes MCM demand will increase, but the brand isn't irrelevant everywhere. It still performs in specific Asian markets. But globally, in 2026, it's a brand caught in a nostalgia cycle that's moved on without it. Buying MCM now is buying into the past. And luxury is about the future. MCM is dated. Our next brand is controversial, but maybe not for the reasons you think. Because being too exclusive can be just as bad as being too common. Number 10. Goyard. No e-commerce, no advertising, no official online presence. You buy Goyard in person or you don't buy Goyard. For decades, this created a mystique, scarcity, desirability, the ultimate insider brand. But 2026 shows Goyard's exclusivity strategy is backfiring. Aspirational buyers, the people who might spend $2,000 to $5,000 on their first luxury purchase, can't access Goyard easily. No online shopping, limited boutiques, policies that make buying difficult. So they buy other brands. Brands that want their money. Brands that make purchase easy. Older luxury consumers appreciate Goyard's exclusivity. They understand the brand. They've traveled to Paris or New York specifically to buy. Gen Z and younger millennials, they expect seamless digital experiences. They research online. They compare options. They buy where it's convenient. Goyard offers none of that, and they're suffering for it. This resale shows interesting patterns. Classic pieces, Street Louis totes, Saigon bags, maintain decent value. But overall, brand awareness is declining. Younger resale buyers don't know Goyard, don't care about Goyard. Without brand recognition among future buyers, resale values will continue softening. Goyard's exclusivity strategy worked in an era where scarcity created desire. But 2026, luxury operates differently. Information is abundant. Access expectations are high. Friction is death. Goyard is too exclusive for its own good. And they're learning that artificial scarcity without demand is just called obscurity. So far, we've seen brands that are overpriced, overexposed, controversial, outdated, and too exclusive. But now we get to the brands with structural problems, starting with a category that's fundamentally broken. Number 9. Direct-to-consumer luxury. Startups. The 2010s gave us DTC luxury. Cut out middlemen. Sell directly to consumers. Offer luxury quality at accessible prices. Brands like Quiana, Senreve, Dagne Dover promised Italian leather, artisan craftsmanship, transparent pricing, all without retail markups. However, 2026 exposes the fundamental problem. Most DTC luxury brands aren't luxury. They're premium priced without luxury quality. They're marketing more than substance. These brands share fatal flaws. Heavy reliance on paid advertising. Without retail presence, they need constant digital spend to acquire customers. When ad costs rise, margins collapse. Thin resale presence. Most DTC brands have no secondary market. Nobody's buying used DTC bags because nobody knows what they are. Unproven quality. Without heritage, without track records, quality claims are just claims. And increasingly, customers discover those claims don't hold up. In strong markets, DTC luxury brands survive on growth investor money. In weak markets, they die. The 2025-2026 luxury slowdown is killing DTC luxury. Funding has dried up, growth has stalled. Several prominent DTC brands have quietly shut down or been acquired for pennies. Not all DTC luxury brands are bad. Some deliver genuine quality. But as a category, in 2026, they're structurally fragile. High risk, low resale value, unproven longevity. If you're buying DTC luxury, you're betting on brands that might not exist in 5 years. That's not luxury, that's speculative shopping. DTC brands are fragile because they're new. Our next brands? They're failing because they're trapped. They are squeezed between affordable and aspirational with no clear identity. Number 8. Tory Burch and Ralph Lauren. Tory Burch, Ralph Lauren. American heritage, established luxury, decades of brand equity. They should be thriving, but they're not. Both brands suffer from the same issue: identity, ambiguity in 2026. Are they affordable luxuries? Are they aspirational premiums? Are they true luxury? Nobody knows, including the brands themselves. Tory Burch built success on accessible American luxury. The Riva flat, the logo, the preppy bohemian aesthetic. But 2026 reveals that that aesthetic is over. Preppy boho feels dated. The logo feels tired. And the brand hasn't evolved. Growth is stalled. Brand momentum is weak. Gen Z isn't buying. And resale values reflect indifference. But Ralph Lauren has a stronger heritage. The Polo brand. American dream storytelling. Classic WASP aesthetics. However, with their identity crisis, they are simply not that guy anymore. Their luxury purple label competes with Tom Ford and Brioni. Their Polo line competes with J. Crew. Same brand, completely different markets. Massive confusion. Both brands have real heritage, real quality, real American luxury credentials. But in 2026, heritage without clear positioning is a weakness. Both brands need to decide what they are and commit. Until they do, they're neither affordable enough to dominate the mass market, nor aspirational enough to win luxury. They're just there. Identity confusion is bad. But at least Tory Burch and Ralph Lauren aren't aggressively destroying their own brand equity through discounting, unlike our next brand. Number 7. Saint Laurent's quilted bags. Saint Laurent Lulu, with its quilted leather, is the perfect Instagram bag. 2018 to 2022 was peak Lulu mania. Waitlists, sellouts, the bag everyone wanted, but that trend peak passed. Oversupply hit the market. The puffer quilting that felt fresh now feels dated, and resale values collapsed. Lulu bags that retailed for $2,000 to $3,000 now sell for $1,200 to $1,800 used. That's a 40 to 50% depreciation. This is the problem with trend-heavy luxury. Trends move fast. Luxury production moves slowly. By the time supply meets demand, demand has moved on. Saint Laurent bet heavily on quilted bags. Lulu, Kate with quilting, college with quilting, variations on a theme. When quilting was hot, this worked. When quilting cooled, Saint Laurent was stuck with inventory nobody wanted at full price. Sales data shows Saint Laurent quilted bags appearing in private sales, outlet channels, department store markdowns. The brand is stuck discounting to clear inventory, which trains customers to wait for discounts, which erodes full-price demand, which forces more discounting. Saint Laurent makes beautiful bags, but in 2026, their quilted lines are a cautionary tale that trend-chasing in luxury is dangerous. What's hot today is discounted tomorrow. If you're buying Saint Laurent quilted bags at full price in 2026, you're buying yesterday's trend at tomorrow's discount. Saint Laurent chased trends and lost. Our next brand had a clear identity and then systematically destroyed it for short-term growth. Number 6. Dolce & Gabbana. When you think Dolce & Gabbana, you think Sicilian glamour, maximalist Italian luxury, and being flamboyant. For decades, this worked. The brand had a clear point of view. Love it or hate it, you knew what D&G stood for, but 2026 reveals multiple problems converging. First, the maximalist aesthetic feels outdated. Younger luxury consumers want minimalism. D&G's loud, ornate, heavily branded style reads as trying too hard. Second, brand controversies created permanent damage. Certain markets, particularly China, remain skeptical. Sales in key regions never fully recovered. Third, quality perception has eroded. Consumer complaints about construction, materials, and finishing have increased. The brand feels less premium despite premium prices. Gen Z doesn't connect with D and G's aesthetic. It feels like their parents' generation, maybe their grandparents' generation. The brand tried younger collaborations, streetwear influencers. But it didn't work because D and G's brand DNA is fundamentally at odds with current luxury preferences. Dolce & Gabbana isn't collapsing. They still have loyal customers. They still generate revenue. But in 2026, they're a brand without a future. Buying D and G means buying into a brand that peaked decades ago and hasn't figured out how to evolve. D and G are polarizing and dated. Our next brand? It's living off 90s nostalgia with nothing underneath. Number 5. Versace. Versace built on iconography so strong it survived the founder's death in 1997. But in 2026, iconography without innovation is just merchandising. Under Capri Holdings ownership before selling to Prada in 2025, Versace became a licensing operation more than a fashion house. Consumer complaints about Versace quality increased dramatically between 2020 to 2025. $2,000 dresses with construction issues, $1,000 shoes with durability problems, premium prices without premium execution. Versace tried repositioning multiple times, streetwear collaborations, younger casting, social media pushes. Nothing worked. Because the brand couldn't escape its own history. Donatella Versace stepped down as creative director in 2025 after failing to modernize the brand beyond nostalgia. Prada acquired Versace for $1.375 billion, significantly less than Capri paid in 2018. That's a stunning value destruction in less than a decade. Versace has one of the strongest brand names in luxury, but in 2026, that name represents past glory without present substance. The 90s aren't coming back, and Versace hasn't figured out what comes next. We've reached the top 5. And from here, it gets brutal. Because the next brand isn't just struggling. It's been systematically destroyed by its own parent company. Number 4. Michael Kors. Michael Kors was supposed to be an American luxury. Accessible, but aspirational. Affordable enough for middle-class professionals, but luxurious enough to matter. Peak Michael Kors, 2012 to 2014 revenue was over $4 billion. Boutiques everywhere. Bags on every arm. Then Capri Holdings, Michael Kors' parent company, made fatal errors. They had an aggressive outlet expansion. By 2017, Michael Kors had become known as an outlet brand. You didn't buy Michael Kors at full price. You waited for the 70% off sale. The brand flooded department stores, malls, and online channels. Everywhere you looked, Michael Kors. Which means common. Then lastly, the brand's quality declined. As volume increased, quality decreased. Bags felt cheaper. Customers noticed, and it wasn't pretty. Between 2023 to 2025, Capri attempted radical transformation. Raise prices, target younger consumers, reduce signature products, inject more fashion. It failed catastrophically. Michael Kors' revenue fell from $4 billion to $3 billion in recent years. That's a 25% decline. Operating margins collapsed from healthy levels to 18%. The brand bled $864 million in sales since 2023. Capri Holdings posted $1.8 billion loss in fiscal 2025. The company is fighting for survival. CEO John Idle admitted, "We made missteps. Some were self-inflicted." The attempted Tapestry merger failed. Michael Kors is alone, damaged, losing relevance daily. The discount perception is permanent. Consumers learned Michael Kors means sales. They will never pay full price again. Gen Z won't touch it. Michael Kors is mom's brand. It's what your aunt gives you for graduation. Quality can't be rebuilt without massive investment. And Capri doesn't have the money. Michael Kors in 2026 is a masterclass in how to destroy a luxury brand. Discounting, over-distribution, quality erosion, Identity confusion. The brand still exists, but it's a zombie. Walking Dead. Michael Kors destroyed itself through discounting. Our next brand? Sales down 25%. Creative chaos. Store closures. This is what collapse looks like in slow motion. Number 3. Gucci. Gucci under Alessandro Michele, 2015 to 2022. Unstoppable, maximalist, eclectic, cultural phenomenon. Revenue doubled to 10 billion euros. It was the biggest luxury brand turnaround in history. Then Michele left in 2022. Sabato de Sarno took over, and Gucci collapsed. In Q1 2025, sales fell 25%. In Q2, down 25%. Q3, down 18%. Across the full year, revenue fell 26% to 3 billion euros, and operating income went down 51%. De Sarno's vision, when he took over as creative director, was commercial Gucci. Cleaner, less maximalist, more wearable. The market rejected it completely. Michele fans fled, and new customers never appeared. In 2025, Kering panicked and fired De Sarno after barely 22 months, and hired Demna from Balenciaga. Demna's first collection in 2025 got mixed reviews. People talked about it, but sales didn't gain momentum. This is Gucci's third creative director in 3 years. They are in complete operational chaos. Gucci represents 50% of Kering's revenue. When Gucci collapses, Kering collapses. Kering stock fell 70% since 2021, and market cap evaporated by tens of billions. Kering is now closing stores, cutting costs, selling assets. They sold Creed for 4 billion euros in their fight for survival. Why did Gucci fail so catastrophically? Over-logoed, too much, good game, too recognizable, too common, creative instability. Customers don't know what Gucci is anymore. Also, massive quality complaints. There are several viral videos of Gucci products falling apart. $3,000 bags with construction issues. Ultimately, Gucci has a massive presence. Gucci was everywhere between 2016 to 2022. Now consumers are exhausted. Gucci in 2026 is luxury's biggest disaster. A 10 billion euro brand has been reduced to 3 billion in less than 3 years. Analysts say recovery is possible, but it would be with 2 to 3 full collections minimum. That's basically going to be between 2026 to 2027 at best, and longer at worst. Can Kering survive that long? Buying Gucci in 2026 is buying a brand in existential crisis. Beautiful product, dying brand. Gucci is collapsing dramatically, but at least Gucci was luxury once. Our next brand? It was never luxury, it just convinced people it was, and now the illusion is broken. Number 2, Coach Pre 2014. Coach and Michael Kors followed identical trajectories: accessible luxury, rapid expansion, outlet addiction, brand erosion. Coach in 2014 was in the same death spiral as Michael Kors faces now. Over-distributed, over-discounted. Then, Coach made brutal choices. They killed discounts completely. Flash sales gone. Promotions are rare. Full price or nothing. Then they closed outlets strategically and adjusted distribution. This created scarcity and elevated product without raising prices beyond reach. Stuart Vevers brought heritage back, got specific about the audience. Gen Z and millennials. Not everyone. In 2025, Coach's revenue went up 20% since 2019. Coach is now the 5th hottest brand in fashion. Michael Kors tried similar strategies. They failed because they started too late and the image was permanent. They didn't commit and kept discounting during transformation. They lost Gen Z completely while Coach won them, and they lost quality perception battle. Coach rebuilt quality trust, but Kors didn't. This comparison shows accessible luxury destruction is fixable, but it requires discipline most brands don't have. Michael Kors lacked that discipline, and now they're paying the price. Coach escaped death. Michael Kors didn't. But there's one brand even worse than both. One brand that combines every failure we've discussed, and it's the epitome of 2026 luxury's biggest problem. Number 1. Balmain. Noise without substance. Balmain under Olivier Rousteing became Instagram luxury, heavily logoed, maximalist embellishment, celebrity-obsessed, hype-driven. It worked for a while. Kardashians wore Balmain. Instagram loved Balmain. Festival influencers crowned Balmain. But 2026 reveals what was always true. Balmain has no substance. Remove the logos and you'd have a generic design. Remove the embellishments, and what you have left is an unremarkable construction. Remove the hype. What's left? The brand exists entirely on the surface, and surfaces age fast. Balmain charges luxury prices. It charges $2,000 to $5,000 for jackets, $1,500 plus for bags. But despite these prices, what you get: mediocre construction, trend-heavy design that ages immediately, quality that doesn't justify prices. Consumer reviews consistently talk about disappointment. The physical product doesn't match the Instagram image. Balmain resale is brutal. Pieces lose 60 to 70% of retail value within a year. The secondary market essentially doesn't want Balmain at any price. Why? Because resale operates on future demand predictions, and nobody predicts future Balmain demand. Balmain represents everything wrong with 2020's luxury. Style over substance. It looks expensive on Instagram. It feels cheap in person. Hype over heritage. 15 years of existence can't compete with a century of craftsmanship. Celebrity over customer. The brand serves influencer marketing, not actual buyers. Trend over timelessness. Every Balmain piece screams its era. In 5 years, it screams outdated. Balmain isn't the worst because it's the biggest failure. It's the worst because it represents luxury's biggest lie, that branding can substitute for quality, that marketing can replace substance, that Instagram engagement can justify premium prices. It can't, and Balmain proves it. Buying Balmain in 2026 is buying noise. You're paying for the logo, for embellishment, for the perception of luxury without reality. In 3 years, your $3,000 Balmain jacket will look dated, feel cheap, resell for $500. That's not luxury. That's expensive, fast fashion. So there it is. 15 brands. 15 ways luxury can go wrong. From Rolex's overpricing to Balmain's emptiness. From Louis Vuitton's ubiquity to Gucci's collapse. From Michael Kors's discount spiral to Versace's hollow nostalgia. What ties them together? They broke the value equation. They charged luxury prices without delivering luxury value. They believed branding could substitute for substance. They trained customers to wait for discounts. They chased trends instead of building timelessness. And in 2026, customers are calling them out. The brands not on this list? Hermès, Brunello Cucinelli, The Row, Loro Piana. Brands that never broke the trust equation. They raise prices slowly. They improve quality continuously. They respect customers. They understand that premium prices require premium value. 2026 to 2028 will be brutal for the brands on this list. Some will recover, some will adapt, some will die. Gucci might survive, if given time. Michael Kors might claw back respectability, if Capri doesn't collapse first. Louis Vuitton will remain massive, but Monogram won't recover its exclusivity. Rolex would definitely survive. They have reached a legendary status. People would buy, even they continue to increase prices. The rest? They face existential questions. Does Balmain have a future beyond hype? Can Balenciaga overcome its reputation damage? Will Gen Z ever care about Versace? This list isn't about hating luxury. It's about holding luxury accountable. When you pay $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 for something, it should be worth it. Not worth it because the logo says so. Worth it because the quality, craftsmanship, and design justify the price. The brands on this list forgot that, or never believed it in the first place, and now they're paying the price. So here's what you need to ask before buying luxury. Not, is the logo famous? But, is the quality exceptional? Not, is it trending on Instagram? But, will I love it in 10 years? Not, what's the retail price? But, what's the resale value? Not, does it signal status? But, does it deliver substance? Answer those questions honestly, and you'll avoid every brand on this list. Because luxury in 2026 isn't about logos, it's about value. Drop a comment if your favorite brand made this list and you disagree. Let's talk about whether I'm right. And if you want to avoid luxury money traps, like this video and subscribe, because 2026 is just beginning. And more brands are collapsing every quarter.